So what we have here is a teeny tiny colony of bees, and their queen perished. She died. She was old, and that's how it happens. She died early in the season before it was warm enough and conditions were ideal for them to make a new queen, supersede their old queen and make a new one while she was fading out, and they went queenless. So, and it was too bad because the genetics in this colony were just so beautiful, and she died. So that's it. So I grabbed a frame of open brood from this hive, and I put it in this hive, and I left it to them to make to make a new queen, or make some queen cells. And I totally have lost track of the time. I don't know what those dates were, but I think they should, if there was a queen cell last time I checked, which I can't remember when it was, probably a week ago. So I'm just going to check to see what's going on, to see if that queen cell has emerged, or if it's just an old dud queen cell. It didn't look too good. It didn't look too promising. But anyway, these bees are working it like maybe they've got a queen. They're bringing in pollen. Some people say that if they bring in pollen, they've got a queen, but that's not always the case. So I'm going to dig in and see what I see. So here we go. Is my smoker still going? Yeah, good. Almost stepped on this toad. Where'd he go? There you go, buddy. There you go. Yeah. Oof. That was a close one. Well, my battery's going to die, so I'm going to have to switch to photos from here on in. Okay, so I opened up the hive and I found this, and this, and this, and that down there, and all these little bumpy things over here. And those are drone cells, or drone brood. Drone, they're not pupa, because the pupa, technically, I guess they become pupa when they're capped, and this is capped when the cells are capped over. So they're still larvae. Or they're probably called pro pupa, because there's no royal jelly in there. They're ready to be capped. So yeah, that's not great, because what this indicates to me is that there's either a laying worker, or I have a drone laying queen. And as far as I know, the queen in this hive has been dead for over a month. So I gave them some open brood shortly after I discovered that. And so then I came back a week later after that, and I found a queen cell, a stubby looking ugly queen cell, but it was still a capped queen cell. So I figured, okay, good enough. Then I came back about 10 days later, which was yesterday when I took this photo, and I expected to find maybe an open queen cell, and that had emerged queen, and who was virgin, walking around, and da-da-da-da, right? I figured I'd maybe find a virgin queen, and instead I found this. And like, where is this coming from? It makes me think that that queen cell they made was a dud, and they didn't produce a queen, and so a laying worker started taking off. Sometimes this happens when they don't successfully create a new queen or supersede their old queen. They just go bonkers, and all their wires get crossed, and you'll get a female worker bee just starting to lay eggs all over the place. Doesn't know what she's doing. She's laying 2 or 3 eggs in each cell, and they're not fertilized because she's not mated like a queen, and so they're all destined to be drones, and this would be a fatal, catastrophic condition inside a hive, because there's no worker broods and everything. They eventually die. And so this is what it looked like. I thought, okay, that's what I got. I got a laying worker. So then this happens. What is going on? You go in here and you find this is a queen cell. It's not a good shot of a queen cell because my camera has a difficulty focusing into the bottom of a queen cell. The autofocus just doesn't get down there. But this is a queen cell. Let's see if I can get a better shot of it here. Oh yeah, it's a slightly better shot. Now check it out. So, yeah, This is the curvature of the larva. Okay, so this is the bottom of the queen cell, the big peanut that we call a queen cell, and they're filling it up. They're working that cell. You can see them working it. They're building that cell. They're feeding that queen as much royal jelly as they can, or that queen egg. It started off as an egg, and then around day 3 they give her all the royal jelly in the world, and blah blah blah. And then on day 8 they cap it. So this isn't day 8 yet. So this is, I don't know what maybe day 6. I don't know what day it is, but it's not capped, but we're getting there. So where did this egg come from? I don't know, because here's another shot. Because as far as I know, there's no queen in there. There was definitely, at the most, there was a virgin queen in there, definitely not mated and laying like this yet. I wouldn't think. So what is this? Where is this egg coming from? Is it coming from a laying worker? And did they just take one of those funky laying worker eggs, a drone egg, and stick it inside a queen cell, hoping for the best? I don't know. But I don't. So I just, this didn't add up to me. I did the math. I didn't know where. It doesn't make sense that there's any kind of fertile eggs inside this hive. But check it out. This is another egg. This is another cell that I found, and you can see quite clearly this is definitely a queen cell. It's hanging off the bottom of the frame, and that's normally where you would find swarm cells, but they're not swarming. They're not. This is not, as far as I know, they're not swarming. Geez, they better not be. But no, it's not it's not that crowded. They shouldn't be swarming. And if they are, what's going on? There's no queen in there. They can't swarm. The old queen would fly away. So unless the old queen wasn't actually dead, and she somehow laid an egg, but there's no brood at all. There's been no fresh brood laid in this hive for at least a month, and of their own, right? I had to put fresh brood in there, so I don't know what this is. Maybe, I just don't know. I'm hoping that there's somehow I missed the old queen, and this is what they're doing. They're somehow, making a queen cell. Is there a drone in that queen cell? I don't know. Is that possible? I don't know. So anyway, that's what I'm dealing with. That's what I found. And here's a shot inside that cell. And you can see it's a big fat cell, and you can't see very well because my camera just doesn't automatically focus down the cell. But that's a big glob of white, gooey, fun. It looked a little dry, to be honest. But anyway, that's what it is. And I don't get it. So I just don't know what's going on. I don't see how there could be a fertile egg anywhere in this hive, especially to make a queen cell like this late in the game. So I'm hoping somehow maybe I missed the old queen. Hopefully they're not swarming. Geez, they better not be, because if they do, they're a couple days away from swarming. They usually swarm around the time that they cap the swarm cells. But again, there's only 2 cells in there. I don't know, man. But that's what I found. So yeah, fun times. Okay, before the battery runs out, this is my summation. They are not doing too good. I found some queen cells in there. One big fat one with some royal jelly in the bottom, but it was dried up. It wasn't really wet. It was a very odd thing to see. But anyway, there was 2 cells in there that had some larvae in them, and lots of royal jelly. So I saw a lot of drones in there, scattered drones. So it makes me think they have a drone layer or a laying worker laying drones, and that's a pain. This colony, one thing that I enjoyed liked about their genetics was that they didn't like to make queen cells, and which means they didn't like to make swarm cells. And so their swarming instinct was practically zero. It was amazing, which is kind of a lovely thing to have in a colony, because you don't have to worry about them swarming. And this colony didn't swarm at times when every other colony was swarming. These ones just said, nope, we're not having it, and they just didn't do it. And so the swarming impulse is so low. This is the reason why I wanted to breed off of this queen, who's now gone. But and now they're so lousy at making swarm cells and just new queens. They're not reproducing now when I want them to reproduce. So yeah, that's not great. I better put out that fire before I catch the forest on fire. If I had more time, I think I would just take the whole thing and combine these bees with another colony and be done with it, and not have to worry about all this stuff, because I don't think they're really doing what they need to do to make a new queen. So, I mean, I saw those cells, but they didn't look like good cells. And I saw signs of a drone layer or laying worker, one or the other, and that's just another headache. So, that's it. I'm just going to leave them alone and see what happens.